Ugh, my lower back is killing me. And Me and Britney Spears have so much in common. I mean, the main comparison is that we're both extremely talented singers. My, I should not have let you go. This video was a very last minute idea because I wasn't going to actually do a vlog reading Britney Spears' brand new memoir, The Woman in Me. I picked it up yesterday because I was so bloody excited. I haven't even been I barely left the house the past few weeks, but I had to suffer public transport in order to pick this up. Half price of Waterstones. But it is Britney Spears. I would have given her all my money even if it was full price. But I'm hanging out with a friend today on a live show, and I kind of got convinced to dedicate today to reading Britney Spears' new memoir. I can't tell you how much I love Britney Spears. I've loved her since I was a child, okay? I used to get bullied because I idolized her so much. Me singing Toxic in the classrooms of Joseph Swan Secondary School, I think I was asking to be bullied, to be honest. But I've been following Britney's story for the past few years, and there's so many harrowing things that have happened that I need to know everything from her own mouth. I don't want to hear anything from other people. There's so much online as well about things that have transpired from this book, and I just want to read it all for myself. I don't want to get anyone else's words into my mouth, and I just want to celebrate Britney today. Also, I'm not getting dressed. It's a pajama day in this household. Also, this mug does have something on it. Sorry, I got it the wrong way around. Oh look, another glorious morning makes me sick. I concur. This will actually be my first memoir since All Boys on Blue by George M. Johnson, and I read that back in 2020. I really wanted to read I'm Glad My Mother Died by Jeanette McCurdy last year, but time escaped me. I didn't actually have a chance to, but I'm making all the time possible for more Britney. Also, before I continue, please let me know what your favourite Britney Spears song is. I want to say something. Mine's Toxic. All the way. It's incredible how we're already painting Britney's dad, Jamie, as a villain in the first paragraph. When I was growing up, my mother and father thought constantly he was an alcoholic. I was usually scared in my home. Literally, he is someone to be scared of from the word go. And I haven't liked him since finding out everything that happened to Britney and what he's done to her. He actually makes my blood boil how much I hate him, and I don't even know the man. But it just leads to such an inspiring, like the prologue is like so nice, it's so short, but it leads to such a nice moment of Britney when she says, I can make my own way in life, I can make my dreams come true. Honestly, like, she is a living example of inspiration for me as someone who, you know, comes from such a, you know that song Lucky? On the outside it does kind of look like she is lucky, you know, she has a great career, she is so extremely talented and amazing, but underneath all of that there is just so much more complexity to her. But from the first chapter alone, because I've read the prologue in the first chapter now, you can really see how much singing means to her, and the fact that she's actually been able to do that and use her voice is an incredible feat, honestly, especially considering how she started in life. Even just hearing about some of the ancestors of Britney, her grandfather, for instance, June Spears Sr., he sounds like such an awful man as well. He sent his wife Jean to Southeast Louisiana Hospital, by all accounts horrible asylum, and it feels a little bit like history repeating a bit with Britney. Obviously, she's not her dad's wife, but you see what I mean about the men in this family? It seems like their answer to dealing with women is confining them in a space that they have no consent or control over. That seems to be a recurring theme with the men in this Spears family line. Jean wasn't the only wife June sent to the mental hospital in Mandeville. Honestly, it just seems like these women go through emotions and grief. It's awful what Jean had to go through. And it seems like the answer to all of that is, oh, I don't want to deal with you, I'll put you away. I'm scared. Like, I'm scared about history repeating itself. And I'll not say what happened to Jean, but it's awful. Absolutely awful. I can only imagine the agony and trauma she went through. Already I'm emotional. And I must say as well, like, this is written so well so far. Like, I don't know if Britney wrote this herself or if there was a ghostwriter involved. I don't think it mentions if anyone else wrote it, but it's going through her mum and dad meeting, and there's quite a lot of tension. Like, I do usually read like a lot of books and stuff like that, but we're building to something quite tense. When it goes through how her mum and dad met, it says, by all accounts, their relationship was born of mutual attraction and a sense of adventure, but the honeymoon was over long before I came along. And that's good writing. I must admit, like, I'm a booktuber first and foremost. I read, review books. I do crazy fun adventure vlogs and things. So I really do feel that. But speaking of YouTube as well, like my appreciation and relatability to Britney Spears comes from this chapter as well. When she's going through like what music means to her, music stopped the noise, made me feel confident and took me to a pure place of expressing myself exactly as I wanted to be seen and heard. Like, that's powerful. I feel like a lot of people who have a passion can really identify with that, because I know YouTube, for me personally, that is my music. You know what I mean? Doing what I do online helps me. And it's something I'm incredibly passionate about. So there is like a huge relatability to Britney Spears already. And I feel so much emotion and so much sadness considering what the women of Britney's family have gone through up to this point. We haven't even touched Britney's actual present day struggles yet. Like, nowhere near it. Already I'm seeing some patterns from her ancestors. Her dad, I'm telling you. He'll have to watch himself around me. My favourite thing to do besides spending time with Lexi was hiding in cabinets. Same girl, same. I'm probably reading too much into this, but the fact that Britney's parents, to cement their marriage, my parents had a second baby, me. My mother never missed an opportunity to recall that she was in excruciating labour with me for 21 hours. So, like, to me, it feels like Britney's been used since before she was born by her parents. You know, she was conceived to cement their marriage. That was her purpose. And the fact that her mother keeps bringing up the fact that she had a painful labour, it's like, what are you trying to do there? Are you trying to guilt trip your daughter into being born? Do you know how many parents do that? Like, you could breathe and your parents would be like, you should be thankful to me for the rest of your life for breathing. And of course, we do have appreciation for our parents for bringing us into the world, of course. But so many parents hold that over our heads. Like, we can't do anything without worshipping them because of that. Like, you need to give me a little bit more than that. If you want my respect, earn it. Me being born? I didn't ask for that. So I feel bad the fact that Brittany, and also, this is a really weird place to do an update, but I thought a cabinet, this is the only cabinet I have that I can remotely fit my butt inside. And I'm not even in it. Just an awful angle. But yeah, my heart goes out to Brittany early on. And she has so much love for her parents at an early age, and her brother Brian too. He loved me and I loved him so much. It breaks my heart even more just knowing what's coming and how her family have just... It makes me upset to even think about. I'm not even going to go there yet. But the constant repetition of her dad being reckless, cold, mean, and he was even harder on Brian. It's like, her dad is literally the worst. But it still doesn't stop Brittany from trying to achieve her dreams. I actually didn't know that she originally auditioned for the all new Mickey Mouse Club. And as well as Christina Aguilera, they didn't get it on their first audition. And the fact that Brittany almost sabotaged it herself because you're supposed to be 10 or over for it. When the casting director asked how old I was, I opened my mouth to say 8, then remembered the age 10 cutoff and said 9. He looked at me skeptically. So imagine if Brittany, I mean, she didn't get this audition anyway. She would have tried again later on, I'm sure. But like, that audition could have just stopped right there and then. And maybe that would have put her off, like things could have changed. So it's a good job Brittany didn't actually say, oh, I'm 8 years old, and she cut herself off. Could you imagine? Could you imagine a world without Britney Spears? I can't. Don't even imagine it. That is a post-apocalyptic world I never want to be a part of. And she was waiting tables at age 9, cleaning shellfish and serving plates of food. She's 9. Oh my gosh. Like, the fact that she does have this big dream of singing and stuff, but there's so much work that she's put through. And don't even get me started on the Star Search stuff. I was about to be a contestant on Star Search. I got 3.75 stars. Imagine giving Britney Spears at any age 3.75 stars. Are you kidding me? But the worst thing is, the host, Ed McMahon, I can't even say his name. Ed McMahon? Ed McMahon. I don't know. I don't care to know because I don't like him. I've seen a clip of this moment when he asks a 9-year-old girl if she has a boyfriend. I noticed last week you have the most adorable, pretty eyes. Do you have a boyfriend? Ew, that's so disgusting. That's vile. No, sir, I said. Why not? They're mean. Boyfriends? You mean all boys are mean? I'm not mean. How about me? Get the fuck away. Get to jail. This is your go to jail card, you n***. She got a 3.75 again, and she kept it together until I made it backstage, then I burst into tears. She has been sexualized her whole life, honestly, by the sounds of it. It's so disgusting. I actually didn't know that she had an understudy role in the off-Broadway musical Ruthless, led by Laura Bell Bundy, who I love when she did Legally Blonde the musical. Oh my god, stop. There's a lot about Britney Spears that I do not know that I'm learning so much through this. Britney actually doesn't really mention too much about the Mickey Mouse Club. She does say her second audition got her booked, and she shared a dressing room with Christina Aguilera. We looked up to the older kids, Kerry Russell, Ryan Gosling, and Tony Luca. Honestly, the fact that Ryan Gosling is also a part of this, like that Mickey Mouse Club, there were just so many talented people in there. And quickly I connected with a boy named Justin Timberlake, and I retched. I retched, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm sure he was absolutely fine at that period in time. I haven't liked Justin Timberlake for like 20 years. But I do stan Justin's mum, because apparently when Brittany's grandmother Lily died, they couldn't afford to fly home for the funeral, but Lynn, Justin's kind mother, lent us the plane fare. Like, what an incredible gesture from her. How did Justin come out with that? Someone dared Justin to kiss me. A Janet Jackson song was playing in the background as he leaned in and kissed me. The irony. The absolute irony. Like, one of the reasons why I really despise Justin Timberlake is because of what happened to Janet Jackson. In his role in that. In the fact that he got away scot-free from all of that and Janet Jackson had to pay the price. It wasn't Janet Jackson's fault what happened during the Super Bowl. I 100% blame Justin Timberlake for that. And yet, despite everyone saying what happened, Justin was too much of a golden boy and everyone loved him because, you know, misogyny. The patriarchal system works against any woman in any industry, and especially the entertainment industry, because we all see it before our eyes. We see it happening in real time, and still, like, they get away with it. But yeah, literally the Mickey Mouse Club was only around about 3 pages. And she does say the Mickey Mouse Club was a terrific experience. So I'm glad she had what seems to be a really positive time in her life. When Brittany started smoking, her mum grabbed one of her hands off the wheel of the car that Brittany was driving. Her mother literally grabbed her hand to smell it to say she was smoking. With it, how old was Jamie Lynn at the time? Like 2 years old? Yeah, she had a seatbelt but wasn't in the car seat. The stupid cow. Brittany's mum could have literally killed them all right there and then. You don't grab someone's hand off a steering wheel while they're driving a car. And not with children in the car as well. And I think Brittany was like 13 at the time. What in the world? The adults in Brittany's life, it doesn't even matter how much older they are. Like, anyone older than Brittany, a lot of them are just scum. Like, we have a guy who has a girlfriend who Brittany did have a crush on. And I don't blame Brittany at all for having a crush on an older guy. I used to have crushes on pretty much nearly every guy I would ever encounter. So I don't blame Brittany for the fact that when he sees her sleeping on the couch, she woke up to him sitting next to her. He started kissing me and then we were fully making out on the couch. He was older than her. She was underage as well. So like from her point of view, the guy who she absolutely adores and has a crush on is giving her attention, which I honestly relate to so hard. But he should have known better. He was older. Yeah, she was 5 years younger than him. I think she was like 13 at the time. So he would have been 18. We're surrounded by creeps. And later on as well, she loses her virginity to someone. I was young for the 9th grade and the guy was 17. The age difference between me and that guy was huge. Obviously, now it seems outrageous. Outrageous. So it's honestly so gutting that there are just so many bad people in the world who are so willing to take someone's innocence. Believe me, I can relate. You're telling me that Britney Spears, 1, could have been in The Notebook, and 2, could have been in Chicago? I can't believe. My flabbers are well and truly gasted. When it came to Chicago, I should have done it. I had power back then. I wish I'd taken that offer. I would have gotten to play a villain who kills a man and sings and dances while doing it too. What? Also, the Notebook casting came down to just her and Rachel McAdams. Even though it would have been fun to reconnect with Ryan Gosling after our time on the Mickey Mouse Club, I'm glad I didn't do it. Right, is this really bad? I've actually never seen the Notebook. I've never seen it. I've never seen it, but I love Chicago. So would Brittany have played Roxy Hart? Would she have played the Renee Zellweger character in that? I feel like Brittany could have done it justice, honestly. Because we talk about Crossroads a little bit. I mean, I've jumped ahead a little bit. I'm going to talk about Baby One More Time and her early career and stuff. But I'm just like, what? I like Crossroads. I think it's a good, fun time. Is it the best thing I've ever seen? No. It's not, of course. But if I just want to have a genuinely fun time, I'll stick Crossroads on. In fact, is it even on like Netflix or something? I used to have the DVD, but I haven't seen that in a few years. I don't know where it's gone. I'm Not a Girl, Not Yet a Woman. Oh, I just love that song so much. United Kingdom. It's not available for streaming. I'll buy it. But really interesting that she couldn't separate herself from Lucy, the character. And the fact that it was written by Shonda Rhimes as well. I feel like I should have known that. And I think I did know that at one point. I love Shonda Rhimes shows. I love Grey's Anatomy. I love How to Get Away with Murder. I love Scandal. Oh my god, like Shonda Rhimes? She is amazing with a pen. Oh, my Starbucks is on its way too. I decided to order a Starbucks for this occasion. Gotta get myself a pumpkin spice latte, haven't I? Also, Brittany apparently liked to do a British accent. So I'm honouring Brittany when I go proper Cockney. Innie. Yeah, I just became this girl named Lucy. When the camera came on, I was her, and then I couldn't tell the difference between when the camera was on and when it wasn't. And I felt that. It's been so long since I watched Crossroads. I'd have to watch it again to really get the character. But I feel like, yeah, because, yeah. Oh my gosh, like, I feel awful because I've forgotten so much of that film. But also, I know the spirit of it. I know the spirit of the character. I know what I'm trying to say that I can't put into words. I feel like there is a good parallel there between them. So I can understand why Brittany couldn't exactly just switch it off. But the fact that her career just takes off at an almost breakneck speed. You know, she starts recording. She gets to meet people from Jive Records. She signed a recording deal at 15. 15, what was I doing at 15? Oh, that's right, I was being bullied for being gay at secondary school. Okay, yeah. And there was like this random story about how Brittany, like she'd been signed and stuff. She hasn't done a music or anything just yet, but she was at a barbecue and she ran straight into a screen and everyone saw it. She fell back. Everyone just laughed their little fannies off. I was so embarrassed. Isn't it funny that out of all the things that happened to me in that first year of recording, that is one of my most vivid memories. And I feel like it sounds random, but this was probably the first time Brittany felt ridiculed by people. Because I've read a little bit further on, I am now on page 72. I feel like Brittany has just had a lifetime of having ridicule and abuse hurled at her. And that random moment from that first year of her recording speaks volumes to the fact that here we have a situation where Brittany has accidentally ran into a screen and embarrassed herself and everyone around her is laughing at her. I think there is something to be said there about Brittany's feelings and how she probably still feels to this day. The night before we recorded Baby One More Time, she listened to Tainted Love and fell in love with that sound. I stayed up late so that I'd go into the studio tired, my voice fried. When I sang, it came out gravelly in a way that sounded more mature and sexier. I love the fact that Brittany had so much control and so much creative input into her early career. Because, yeah, they wanted to do a futuristic astronaut kind of thing for the Baby One More Time music video. But as you know, she ended up doing the whole schoolgirl routine, which is so iconic, a brilliant music video, and that was pretty much all Britney's idea. I thought people would want to see my friends and me sitting at school, bored, and then as soon as the bell rang, boom, we'd start dancing. Britney had so much control and like so much creative energy and like such an imagination on her. She was so talented from such a young age, and it was the most fun of doing that first album, probably the moment in my life when I had the most passion for music. I was unknown and I had nothing to lose if I messed up. She isn't getting ridiculed for any of her actions while she is performing and singing or anything like that because people don't really know her yet. She goes on a mall tour, which I believe I have heard about, and that sounds intense. But then she became the first woman to debut with a #1 single and album at the same time. Yes, queen, yes! And even like the women around her, like Britney has always been so attentive when it comes to people around her. And there was this woman who she meets, and she was a singer-songwriter, Paula Cole. I realised how powerful it can be when women defy expectations, because Paula Cole is like this small woman, but like she has like this huge voice and this huge personality, and she defies expectations. I love that so much. Oh, we'll talk about Justin Timberlake in the next update. We're getting there, we're getting there. But the misogyny, the awful stuff that Britney has to go through when it comes to interviews and the way that people would interview her, compared to, you know, questions that Justin Timberlake would get, for instance. The cringe of a man. I couldn't help but notice that the questions he got asked by talk show hosts were different from the ones they asked me. Everyone kept making strange comments about my breasts, wanting to know whether or not I'd had plastic surgery. So many of these interviewers need looked at. They need held accountable for the way that they would treat women in general, even women themselves. Was it Diane Sawyer or someone gave Britney such a hard time after the split with Justin Timberlake? I don't, honestly, I don't care for whoever it was who did it. I don't remember their name. They don't deserve to be remembered. I don't even know how to describe it. I'm feeling so much anger. The double standards, you know? The suffocating way that Britney must have felt during these interviews, that she is trying to be herself. She's trying to be authentic. She's trying to empower herself, give her voice, and have people see her perform, and that's what she loves to do. But people keep bashing her and criticizing her and asserting all of this misogynistic dominance over her. They want to keep her quiet, they want to keep her small, they want to criticize her, and it's disgusting. Later, MTV sat me down in front of a monitor, made me watch strangers in Times Square give their opinions of my performance. That is just awful. Why would you make somebody watch people criticize them for? Some people said she was too sexy and thereby setting a bad example for kids. I just danced my heart out on the award show. I never said I was a role model. All I wanted to do was sing and dance. Ooh, that's my Starbucks! Oh my god, that was so quick. I was getting so fired up there. Pumpkin spice latte. Oh, cheers to you, Brittany. for being an absolute icon. Oh, they put a lot of pumpkin spice in that. Why did everyone treat me, even when I was a teenager, like I was dangerous? If I was sexy, they seemed to think I may be stupid. If I was hot, I could possibly be talented. The double standards, the impossible position that female artists, females in general, have been put through. Finally, I said, some of them were very sweet, but I'm not the children's parents. I just gotta be me. I know there are going to be people out there. I know not everyone's gonna like me. It shook me up. It would shake anyone up. Could you imagine? I mean, obviously, like, it's so incomparable, but I would hate it if I had to sit and watch people review my videos. And even then, like, I find criticism quite hard sometimes on the comments of my videos. I get so much shit on there a lot of the time. People criticize my voice, my look, and it hurts. It really hurts. But imagine being in Britney Spears' position, performing her heart out, giving an iconic performance, and just to make her sit in front of strangers telling her, oh, like, she's a bad role model for kids. MTV should not have done that. Like, I hope they don't do that anymore. I don't know if they do. They never should have done it then, shouldn't do it now. But if anything, it just solidifies just how much of a sweetheart Britney Spears is. Around the time of my first world tour for Oops, I was able to build my mom a house and settle my father's debts. I wanted to give them a clean slate. Oh my gosh, and the way they treat her later on, I'm so furious, I'm so mad. She really did not deserve any of what's happened to her. Oh, she's such a sweetheart. Okay, let's talk about Justin fucking Timberlake. I've already said my piece about him with the whole Janet Jackson debacle, and how much I hated how Janet was treated, even though that was entirely Justin's fault, and how he got away from it scot-free. So we delve way more into Justin Timberlake in this, and it breaks my heart knowing how much Brittany loved him. Like, she loved the shit out of that man. It honestly feels like he stepped all over her in his pursuit of pursuing a solo career and to get his debut album off the ground. What is it, Justified? When Justin began making his first solo album, Justified, he started being very standoffish with me. Yeah, because he knew what he was doing to you. Like, that's so manipulative. And there was so much premeditation there, especially when you go back a little bit to what Brittany had to go through in that relationship as well. She says there were a couple of times during our relationship when I knew Justin had cheated on me. He is no golden boy. But obviously, the media, Justin, will portray themselves the way that they do in order to keep that image. Photographers caught him with one of the girls from All Saints in a car. I mean, I'm gonna say I love All Saints. The song Never Ever is one of my favourite songs ever. Never ever have I ever felt so bad. But he's so blatant about the way he cheats. Yeah, man, I hit that last night, he said about someone who's apparently very popular and she's married with kids now. Like, Brittany has so much grace to not even just, like, say who it is, even though her heart was trampled over. Just like, she has more grace and decorum than I do. And more grace and decorum than Jane from Come Dine With Me, apparently.
I hope now you spend it on getting some lessons in grace and decorum.
Brittany admits that she did make out with Wade Robson. Just sleeping around is something that everyone pretty much knew but just didn't talk about, so that when Brittany actually kissed someone, that's like earth-shattering, apparently. The double standards are disgusting, absolutely disgusting. At one point when we were dating, I became pregnant with Justin's baby. Now this is a section that I think is so raw and emotional, and I know Brittany doesn't do the audiobook for this, and when she says that she doesn't want to re-traumatize herself, I really do think that this whole section here is something that she's referring to about all of that. The decision to have an abortion, it's something that they both did together, so don't judge them whatsoever for that. They did what they thought was best together. To this day, it's one of the most agonizing things I've ever experienced in my life. I just feel so awful that immediately after this was when Justin walked all over her, broke up with her over text. Apparently he flew out to her as well, gave her this letter that was framed or something, which Brittany, I think, still apparently has. I'm like, this man, he gets away with fucking everything. Like, to me, it doesn't really sound like he cared too much about her. He used her as ammunition for his record. He saw an opportunity to take advantage of the mega successful Britney Spears to walk all over her, to step on her on his way up the charts. He played an unreleased song for Barbara Walters called Don't Go, Horrible Woman. That seemed to be about me. I thought our love was so strong, I guess I was dead wrong. But to look at it positively, hey girl, at least you gave me a song about another horrible woman. Oh. Cry Me a River, there was a music video in which a woman who looks like me cheats on him and he wanders around sad. In the news media, I was described as a harlot who'd broken the heart of America's golden boy. The truth, I was comatose in Louisiana and he was happily running around Hollywood. The double standard, it stinks. He neglected to mention the several times he cheated on me during that explosive album, the press around it. He never once went, Yeah, I cheated on Brittany multiple times. She kissed Wade. Everyone felt sorry for him. Cry-Me a River did very well. Everyone felt sorry for him, and it shamed me. Is now a good time to tell you I've never liked Cry-Me a River? I just don't like it. It's not a good song. I'm not even saying that because I'm pissed at Justin Timberlake. I've just never liked his music. Period. I just don't like his music. I don't think Justin realised the power he had in shaming me. I don't think he understands to this day. I disagree. I think he knew exactly what he was doing. If he cared so much about Brittany, he never would have put her through what she had to go through because of him. And I know people hate the people they love when they've had their heart broken or whatever like that, but when you look at it, like, Brittany didn't really break his heart. He broke her heart, trampled all over her to get his album top of the Billboard charts, and she'll get booed everywhere she goes. Like, even back then, like, this would have been public knowledge. Like, why didn't Justin step in? Why didn't he at least try when you could see that Brittany was getting torn down because of his words and his actions? Why didn't he just step in if he actually cared? Like, this book really makes me hate him more. And I know there are two sides to every story and stuff like that, but he's rubbed me up the wrong way for like the last 20 years. So I think it's a gut instinct at this point. It's just Brittany is confirming what I feel like I already knew deep in my heart. I'd appreciated it when Oprah told me on her show that my sexuality was no one else's business. Now when it came to virginity, you don't need a world announcement if you change your mind. Queen. Was she silent or was she silenced? I love saying people actually take Britney's side, empower Brittany during all of this, because Justin, filth, scum. Reporters asking if my hymen was intact. They're all complicit. Justin framed our time together with me as the bad guy, and I believed it. So ever since then, I felt like I'm under a sort of curse. The gaslighting, the awful behaviour. I don't even really keep up with Justin Timberlake. Has he apologised for any of this? Justin ended up sleeping with 6 or 7 girls in the weeks after we officially broke up. Honestly, it just shows you he doesn't give a fucking shit. I'm sure he's a different person now. I think he has a family. I'm sure he wouldn't do this now, but I mean, unless he actually resolves this with Brittany, and it sounds like through this that he hasn't, then he can go fuck himself. In Madonna, honestly, this book is so star-studded. I am starstruck by all of these appearances. Oprah, Madonna, Cher was mentioned as well. Freaking hell. Madonna's supreme confidence helped me see a lot about my situation with fresh eyes. I'd always tried so hard to please. Madonna saw that and said, okay, everyone, listen up, this is what's going to happen. And it was also interesting to hear how Megan's music was made. Like, there's some stuff about Jamie Lynn that was mentioned too, that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But jeez Louise, man. But honestly, I'm just so angry after reading all the stuff with Justin. And I'm sorry, I didn't really want to talk too much about the baby situation between Brittany and Justin. That is such a sensitive topic, and again, like, I don't judge either of them for their decisions. So yeah, I didn't want to talk about it too much. Sorry if you wanted a bit more in depth on that one, but I'm just glad Brittany felt safe and strong enough to share that with us. Like, we are so lucky and so blessed that she shared anything with us, to be honest. I'm just so glad that she's now able to speak and use her voice. Diane Sawyer. Hang on, I need to check to see if she's still alive to see if I can say all of the things I need to say. How do I not know if she's still alive or not? Okay, yeah, she is still alive. Has she ever apologised for what she did? Has she ever apologised for that interview? I've only ever seen a clip of that interview once. It made me feel sick to my stomach. I could not ever watch that again. Just seeing Brittany just like completely fall apart before our eyes with the awful questions that Diane Sawyer was asking. Like, she was essentially blaming Brittany for everything. He's going on television and saying you broke his heart. You did something that caused him so much pain, so much suffering. What did you do? Brittany was completely bamboozled and surprised by this whole interview. She didn't know what she was going to be asked. 3 guys and her dad forced her to essentially do it. What was their goal? What was their purpose? To make Brittany look and feel bad? Like, why is everyone trying to make Brittany look bad? Seriously, it seems like the further in I've gotten, I'm now on page 151, but the further I'm getting in, the more I'm realising, good grief, like, everyone, well, not exactly everyone, but the majority of people are just walking all over her. The men in Brittany's life specifically are so awful. Feel worse than I've ever felt before, like, towards Brittany. And I know that this isn't really supposed to be a sort of memoir where Brittany's like, oh, feel sorry for me. I don't think that was the intention at all, because yeah, this is just Brittany's story. She's just telling her story, and thank God she is. But it seems like whenever there's something positive that happens, there are 100 negative things around the corner just waiting to smack Brittany in the face. This whole interview with Diane Sawyer, if she hasn't apologised for it, she really needs to. Especially since it seems like that whole interview was just one of many catalysts in Brittany's life. We get into Kevin Federline as well, and I can't really quite remember Kevin all that well. I remember I was in the later years of my secondary school experience while all of this was going on with Brittany and Kevin. I was wrapped up in my own, like, being a gay 13, 14, 15-year-old in a school where, yeah, all the men around me were dicks. But the fact that she says it wasn't about lust, it was intimate. He would hold me as long as I wanted to be held. Had anyone in my life ever done that before? The fact that she craved that intimacy, that sort of protection, like, so deeply at this point just shows you that she has been through the ringer when it comes to relationships, men, people in general. Like, she needed this, like, so badly, and Kevin offered that to her, which is why, again, like, I despise the man with what he does. Again, he walks all over Brittany, or he tries to anyway. Nobody walks all over Brittany and gets away with it. He tries to get a leg up on his career. I love what Brittany says about it as well. She says he really thought he was a rapper now, bless his heart, because he did take it so seriously. I'm just like, it's so funny. It's like such a classy little insult. He was so enthralled with fame and power. I've seen fame and money ruin people, and I saw it happen with Kevin in slow motion. It's so sad that he would just step all over her and use her when she genuinely cared for him and loved him and needed that stability, that protection. He is the father to her two children who she thinks the absolute world of. And I know she's an incredible mother, despite how the paparazzi and the media were trying to portray her as. Like, she couldn't even just go out drinking with her friends as a 20-something woman without her being painted as a bad mother. You know, it's like, good grief. If Britney Spears took a breath, she would get criticised for it. That's how deep and I don't even know why. Like, what did she ever do to deserve this? Nothing. She even said something at one point about how she never promised that she would be 17 forever. At what point did I promise to stay 17 for the rest of my life? Let her live. Let her be a woman. Let her be an adult. Let her be an incredible kick-ass mother who has an incredible kick-ass career while also going out with her friends. It's just not that hard. The main danger I had to watch out for was the aggression of the paparazzi. It's like the paparazzi swelled up to tear her down while she was with Kevin quite dramatically. And she was still so supportive. He wouldn't want to see her when he was, like, going around. And still she showed up in Vegas, you know, carrying one child and pregnant with the other. And still she was sympathetic towards him. She could understand, like, oh, you know, he's, like, trying to bring it in the business. You know, his heart is in this. He's trying to achieve his dreams. She's still so understanding and supportive, despite it looking, well, exactly like how it turns out. Him pushing her away and getting a leg up with his career. Honestly, he would be no one still if it wasn't for Brittany. The only good thing to come from him is Brittany's children. And the absolute audacity of him saying to the press, he told everyone else that being a father was everything to him, the best thing in his life. You wouldn't know it, because the sad truth was, he was away a lot. Yeah, I believe it. And Kevin didn't want to be the one to initiate filing a divorce, so Brittany was, like, forced to do it. And yet still she was vilified. Seriously, what could she have done? She was criticised for being in this relationship with him and criticised for divorcing him. Ugh. And still, when Jimmy Kimmel did a joke about Kevin at the AMAs, the whole audience was laughing and Brittany felt this unease because of that. And I feel like it goes back to when she remembers that one incident where she walked into the screen door and how people laughed at her. It's that ridicule. It's the idea of people laughing at you and being scrutinised. And even though they were laughing at Kevin, it still reflected poorly on Brittany. And she knew what it felt like. And I'm just devastated by what she says. That's one thing Justin and Kevin ruined about me. I used to trust people, but after the breakup with Justin and then my divorce, I never really did trust people again. See, this is why I've been single my entire life. I've never been in a relationship. I never want to give anyone that power over my heart. And I know that's, like, a really cynical way of looking at things. And I'm glad I've never had my heart broken. But I'm also giving up happiness by doing that, you know. I could have found the love of my life by now, and I just haven't, because I don't want to get my heart broken. But Brittany's taken the chances. She's trusted people, and they have just thrown it back in her face. And I just can't help but feeling so much sympathy for her and admire her for still carrying on and being an incredible mother to her children despite everything. I hate Justin, I hate Kevin, I hate the paparazzi. I hate Jamie as well, the dad. I hate Jamie Lynn. Speaking of Jamie Lynn, I used to love Zoe 101. It was one of my favourite shows. And Nicole, who was played by Alexa Nicholas, was like my favourite character. And when she left the show, I was devastated, and I had no idea why. You know, I've heard over the years about how Brittany shouted at Alexa Nicholas in Jamie Lynn's trailer because Jamie Lynn told Brittany all of this stuff about Alexa, and Alexa was pretty much bullied on set anyway, and she was, like, the stuff that happened to her with Nickelodeon, with that set, is just awful for a young actress, for anyone, but especially a young actress. And one thing I really do respect about Brittany is that she is so accepting of her flaws, and she is so apologetic for it too. She is not keeping it out. She is telling us everything that she's done wrong herself, and she owns up to it. She holds herself accountable. So when she's talking about Alexa Nicholas, she says, I was protective over Jamie Lynn too. After she complained to me about co-stars of hers on her TV show, I showed up on the set to have words with the actress. What I must have looked like, hugely pregnant, yelling at a teenage, and I would later learn innocent, girl, are you spreading rumours about my sister to that young actress? I'm sorry. She isn't shying away from some of the ugly things that she herself has done, and I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that she isn't putting a band-aid over some of the rough things that she has done. She admits to being mean. She admits to doing things that she would never do now. And I honestly have just so much respect for her for doing that. And I know Alexa Nicholas has accepted Brittany's apology, and she's been so thankful for getting it after all of these years. Like, I follow Alexa Nicholas to this day on social media. She does Eat Predators, which is such an incredible movement of holding people accountable in the business, in show business. She is doing incredible things to this day. But going back to where I literally just finished off is when we had that whole moment when Brittany shaves her head. Went into a hair salon, I took the clippers and I shaved off all my hair. That was because of a couple of things. One, her aunt Sandra had passed away, who Brittany saw as a second mother, so obviously the grief of that was so strong. But also Kevin refused to let Brittany see her children. I don't have children, but if I did, I would do the same. Well, I'd probably do worse, which Brittany says. A friend of mine once said, if someone took my baby away from me, I would have done a lot more than get a haircut. I would have burned the city to the ground. Literally. And yet Brittany was seen as crazy and vilified so much in the press that it was just disgusting to watch unfold. And you're telling me that all of these people who said all this stuff about Brittany, they wouldn't have done worse when they get their children taken away from them? Again, the hypocrisy is so strong. You are balancing very provocatively right now on my sofa. One wrong move and it's over. Before we talk about the conservatorship, actually, because we're getting into it, I'm on page 173 and it's starting to come up quite a bit. So I kind of want to just say what I think about Brittany's mother before getting into all of the conservatorship things. Well, actually, I'm not done with the paparazzi yet. More stuff about the paparazzi. And when I think about celebrities and paparazzi and celebrities who have specifically been targeted and pretty much harassed by the paparazzi, Brittany is the first person who comes to mind. She's going through all of this, the divorce, her babies getting taken away from her, her awful, awful ex-husband not allowing her to see her children, and them coming up to the car. What I'm going to do, Brittany, all I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a few questions, and then I'm going to leave you alone. Like, what gives him the right? What gives him the fucking right to even ask Brittany anything? Leave her alone. She's asking you to leave her alone. Go away. And then not. This is when she takes the umbrella and attacks the car, which she admits is not her best moment. But, I mean, I would have attacked him if it was me. I would have got the umbrella and attacked him. But she said that she would never do that. He kept asking terrible questions, kept asking me over and over again how I felt not being able to see my kids. He was smiling. She says she snapped, and honestly, I do not blame her whatsoever for that. I would love to know the name of this awful, awful scum of the earth human being, because I want him to apologise and repent. Later, that paparazzo would say in an interview for a documentary, that was not a good night for her, but it was a good night for us, because we got the money shot. Like, where is the humanity? Where is the sympathy? Where is the empathy? Why is this subhuman scum treating Brittany as if she was nothing? As if she was only there to serve the paparazzi. Like, that was her job. It's not her job. I both love and loathe this memoir. I do. Like, I love it because it's Brittany telling us her story, but I loathe what she went through. I really do. And I hate the fact that I was so oblivious to a lot of this too myself. I didn't know a lot of this stuff. Now my husband, Hassam, I'm just like, I feel like this was maybe written a little bit before the recent separation there. Although actually there is mention about the July 2023 incident. If I'd been hit in the face in Vegas, as happened to me in July 2023, I would have hit the person back. When did they separate? Her father says that she is a disgrace, right? Why won't anyone listen to Brittany? Why won't anyone recognize her pain and just talk to her? Hear what she has to say about everything that's going on. 31 chapters in, there hasn't been anyone in Brittany's family who has listened. I mean, there have been Brittany's friends, of course, like, people have been there for Brittany, but her family? You are a disgrace, her dad called her. And he should be someone who supports and uplifts his daughter. And Sarah Silverman as well, she can get fucked. Calling her two babies the most adorable mistakes you'll ever see. Did she apologise? Again, I don't know if anyone's apologised for their sins, but Sarah Silverman, you're on my list. Whenever she get asked about things, it was always whether or not she was a fit mother, not about how I'd made such a strong album while holding two babies on my hips and being pursued by dozens of dangerous men all day, every day. Literally everything she's gone through, she's still able to do her job. And yet we have this conservatorship that constrained her so much because she wasn't able to do her job, and yet she was still able to do her job and give everyone money. You know, it's, she made millions for so many people. They all need sued, and they all need to pay Brittany back and apologise and just fuck off, essentially. It's scary as well with, like, the whole SWAT team stuff and the way that she couldn't bear thinking about being separated from her kids again. So, you know, when she locked herself in the bathroom with one of her children, when she realised, oh, this might be the last time I see them. That's just such a relatable moment. That's a good mother. You know what I mean? Like, that's somebody who loves their child so much. I think one of my cats is going for a shit. Really, right now? Killing the moment. Yeah, like, she's trying to be the best mother that she can be. She loves her children unconditionally, and she's proved that time and time again. And yet there is a SWAT team of police enforcing a separation between mother and child. Oh, that's so traumatic. Not just for Brittany, but for her children. And she's doing everything she can to protect her babies. Even, like, going to rehab, because that is the only way that she can get custody. Like, it's so scary. The whole SWAT teams and everything. So, chapter 30 was all about her mother and the memoir she wrote. I didn't realise she wrote a memoir. This would have been back in, what, 2008 or something? But the fact that her mother capitalised off Brittany's pain, her daughter's pain, I might add. The fact that she did all of that, she was making money off that dark time. She'd spent hours wondering how things went so wrong with me. Like, she's just a nasty person. Nothing's as cruel as what my mother did by writing and promoting that book. I can only imagine, I've had many moments in my life where I've went through so much and, you know, acted out, and my poor mother was with me every step of the way. If my mother did a book about me, about my low points in life, I'm sorry, I would never talk to her again. Brittany, again, has shown so much more grace than I ever could. As soon as Brittany's dad said, I'm Britney Spears now, I didn't stop reading. I've actually finished. I blasted through the last 100 pages of this, which were mainly to do with conservatorship and the awful stuff that she had to go through, all the stuff that she was not even allowed to do, even though she proves time and time again how capable she was of doing her job. So much of it is so infuriating. Like, I could not have been on camera earlier because I was just so mad. And even though I knew the whole conservatorship ended, I was really supportive of the Free Britney movement when it was happening. So I knew the outcome of that, but I needed to read the outcome of that. I could not be stewing in the feelings that I had until I got to that moment, which turned out to be towards the end, and then I was just like, I might as well just finish it now. And I'm so glad I did, because even though this has so much pain and anger in it, it ends so upliftingly, and it's a testament to Britney's perseverance, her strength, the love and adoration that she has for her children, the love and adoration she has for her fans. And even after everything she's been through, she's still such a nice and compassionate human being. I can't get over I can't get over it. I'm devastated for her, honestly. I feel like she has lost so much time, and I wish that she could get that time back, but obviously she can't. And I love that she is able to be like, she can't dwell on the past. She's still like looking towards the future. She's looking at her children and what she is doing in the now. She's actually living now. The woman in her has returned and she's going to take full advantage of that. I love that so much. But going back to the conservatorship, literally when she said, my mum and dad took my womanhood from me, the two people you trust the most in the world are your parents, right? Those are the two people you expect to look after you and care for you the most. And obviously not every single parent in the world is a good parent. You just kind of hope that they are. And unfortunately, and I really do wish that Brittany had much better parents than what she was given. I just can't fathom still what they did to her. Literally, I'm Britney Spears now. They said she was too sick to choose her own boyfriend, and yet somehow healthy enough to appear on sitcoms, morning shows, and perform for thousands of people, and make them millions upon millions of dollars. There were so many things that Britney could do that they told her she couldn't do, and yet she kept proving them that, oh, she can do that. Before dates with guys, they would get her full medical and sexual history, and she was humiliated. And this was all before her first date. I would also feel violated and so embarrassed too if I had to go through that. They told her she couldn't get her own lawyer, and she genuinely felt through the entire time that her family wanted her dead. And I can't process that. How do I even say... I'm speechless. I'm so speechless at that. The fact that Brittany was made to feel that way, and honestly, what she details, what she goes through, which she reiterates time and time again, she did this for her kids. She went along with so much of it, and she believed a lot of the lies because she assumed or believed that they would allow her to be with her children. I'm heartbroken. I'm so heartbroken. There is nothing I love more, nothing more important to me on this earth than my children. I'd lay down my life for them. How lucky are those boys to have her as a mother? Seriously, I just wish that she had parents like her. I really do. I remember as well, wasn't there a governor's wife who said that she wanted to shoot Britney Spears? Britney wasn't allowed to eat the things she wanted to eat. She was denied so much. She couldn't even take holidays with her children when she wanted. She had a contract. She had this rigorous schedule that didn't let her do anything. It puzzled me that my mum never said anything about it. Even if it was her dad who was the main instigator in all of this, her mum still watched it all happen and did nothing. And I feel like that is just as bad as what her father did. They are both terrible people, don't get me wrong. They are both terrible, but it still astounds me to this day that they could be so heartless of allowing their daughter to go through so much pain and agony and be the instigators of that as well. I have no more words left in me. He even knew when I went to the bathroom. She couldn't even take like energy supplements either. They would just send her to rehab. She had an allowance of $2,000 a week. A week. And she was making people millions of dollars. And one night she goes for like dinner with her dancers and she wants to pay the check for it because she wants to show her appreciation. Her purchase was declined. I didn't have enough money in my allowance account to cover it. Even when she tried to talk about the conservatorship in 2016, I might add, on talk shows, those parts of the interview would just get cut and never make it to air. I'm like, it felt like the whole world was against her. And this is like the longest, most arduous and soul-crushing part of this book, that it felt like such a, well, not a slog, not as a negative, like, it actually felt draining to get through. Like, I felt myself getting drained the more and more I was reading of this section of the book. I was like, I kind of want this to be over now. Not in a bad way, not in a way that I don't like this book. This was amazing, by the way. I felt my own faith in humanity lesson, honestly. It was so bad. And especially when you see just like how beautiful a person Brittany is, especially around children, how much she wants to give back to children, how much she loves her children specifically, but also the children that she taught dances to. She was traumatized. I was sleepwalking through so much of the past 13 years. Under the conservatorship, I wasn't able to be a woman at all. I need to step away from this book because I'm getting really angry again. The idea that somebody doesn't have control of their life and other people do, in any context of that, is just a terrible, terrible thing. To even leave the room, we had to give the security team 2 hours on notice. This is while she was doing the Vegas residency and she was rehearsing. And she even acknowledges that her body's not the same as it used to be. Like, she needs to change things up to accommodate her And she can't even change that because her dad sends her off to a rehab program in Beverly Hills, which will cost Brittany $60,000 a month, just because she can't do the dances anymore. Or at least like some parts of the dances. She felt blackmailed, she felt gaslit by her own family. Let that sink in. By her own family. Couldn't shut the door to my room. I was watched even when I was changing. They supervised me watching TV. It's like she says multiple times, like she felt like a criminal, like she'd committed a crime or something. And it's so eye-opening to not just what happened to Brittany during the conservatorship, but anyone else who was in a conservatorship too. And it broke my heart when she said, 3 months into my confinement, I started to believe that my little heart, whatever made me Brittany, was no longer inside my body anymore. The idea of somebody taking away someone and who they believe they are to be, and it's your own father who does that too. Oh, that man needs locked up. He needs locked up. There is still so much to say that I feel like I'm just rambling and repeating myself now, but I felt so much triumph when she made that phone call in 911 to report her father for conservatorship abuse. Like, I punched the air. I was like, yeah, she's reclaiming herself, her identity, her womanhood. I felt proud and I felt happy because it had been, up to this point, about 60 pages of that conservatorship abuse and what Brittany went through. I was like, we need a win. I need to feel some kind of elevation through all of this darkness. And I'm so glad that she took that plunge. Like, she was brave enough to take that plunge into trying to get her life back. Oh, and at the same time, learning that her sister had a book coming out too. And honestly, she shows Jamie Lynn so much grace in the second last chapter, I think it is. I'm making her feel more compassion and anger toward her and toward everyone who I feel has wronged me. It's not easy. And she does understand like where Jamie Lynn comes from, and she clearly suffered in her family home too. But just what she did, you know, selling a book about Brittany, or like where Brittany was like a main topic of it, what she sat by and watched her go through too, it's not what sisters should do. She's a bad sister. And it's my sister's birthday tomorrow, actually. My sister is amazing. Okay, my sister is so good. I just feel bad that Brittany didn't have a sister who had her back 24/7. I've got my sister's back 24/7. Anything happened to her, no matter who did it to her, I would be by her side. And nobody could do that for Brittany. Nobody from Brittany's family could do that. Just adds more of an impact to the fact that Sandra, who, you know, Brittany obviously loved, her second mother, she called her, when she passed away, that spiral of grief that Brittany felt at that time, it makes even more sense knowing that Brittany couldn't, or at least at that time when Sandra died, obviously a lot of this stuff hadn't happened yet, but you really do see like the real faces of her family after that. And what really matters, is it really Brittany's money that matters most, what they make them, or their daughter's well-being? What matters most? And you really do see exactly what matters most to them. But the grief that she had for Sandra, losing a family member, it felt like, honestly, like Sandra was the last family member who cared, which is just such a devastating thing. And when Brittany as well comforts this young girl who Brittany accidentally knocks during one of the dances, Brittany is on her knees begging for forgiveness and doing anything to make it right, and the little girl's like, oh, don't worry, you didn't hurt me or anything. But then Brittany's like, why hasn't anyone ever done this for me? Why does nobody care about my well-being like this? You know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah, like why don't they? I can't explain it. I can't explain bad people. I really can't. And unfortunately, Brittany had a lot of bad people in her family. But I'm so glad that we ended this book with triumph. And I do feel like she has recently split from her husband, who she mentions at the very end of this. So it doesn't touch upon anything that's happened with him. But it did include that July 2023 altercation with the singer. I'm sure Brittany went up to someone who she admires and he just like hits her, which I try not to look at because I don't ever like seeing videos of violence. So I don't really know the full story of that. But the fact that that made it in here and the recent split hasn't, I'm a little bit confused by that. But other than that, this was a harrowing read of somebody who I've idolized myself for the past, well, like 25 years or something, or like ever since I saw Baby One More Time as a 6-7-year-old boy. I've always looked up and admired Brittany, and she just proved why I admire her. And it's for her strength, it's for her creativity, it's for her talent, it's for her compassion and her humanity. All the things that so many people around her lacked. I wish I could do more, but obviously I can't. But I do love Brittany, and I really hope that now she can move on from all of that trauma she's experienced and be happy. That's the main thing for me. I would love for her to return to music because obviously it was such a huge passion for her and she's so talented at it. But when she tells us towards the end that she just wants to focus on herself and be happy, I will 100% support that. Even if she never returns to music, as long as she's happy, I'm happy. And I trust that one day if she's ready, she will. But if that day never comes, then I don't care. As long as her boys never get taken away from her and she is surrounded by people who genuinely love and care for her. She honestly deserves it. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to leave this video a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave all your comments down below. Let me know what you thought of the video. Let me know what you thought of the book. If you've read it, if you haven't read it, if you love Britney, your favorite Britney song, remember, tell me everything down below. I'd love to chat to you. I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons and my channel members for supporting my channel. And if you'd like to join my Patreon or my One Piece channel membership, then all the links are down in the description box. But yeah, I hope I will see you in the next video. Bye.